right, guys, this is episode 16, which is about glues. All the different kinds of glues that I keep around when I am tying flies. So we've got quite a few to go through. Let's just get into it. So the first glue that I would have is something like a Zap-a-Gap or Z-Mint that has a brush applicator. The brush applicator makes it extremely easy to be able to get this where you need it, and it dries extremely clear. So this, unfortunately for you guys, is a product that you should try to seek out that is fly tying specific. Something from Walmart will not do, because this is not gonna wind up with a big glob of glue that is not clear at the end of your flies. Highly recommend you pick up something like a Zap-a-Gap or a Z-Mint with a brush applicator. The next glue that I would have is something like a hard head. This is going to be great to finish your nymphs. It's awesome. It's got a brush applicator as well. Makes it extremely easy to be able to finish off your nymphs or put a small dot of it on your dry flies. If you are tying some really, really small flies, I do recommend something like this, and also grab maybe like some toothpicks. Even that brush applicator is a little big for being able to put on super small flies like 12s or 16s. Grab a small thing of toothpicks, leave it on your tying bench. You could dip your toothpick in there and apply it exactly where you need it. That's what you need to do. The next thing that I used that you've seen in this series is from Walmart, any kind of craft store, grocery store, or whatever. I buy these by the boxes on Amazon. I go through a lot of super glue. I really like to buy super glues that have a really, this one's been a little used, that have a really fine tip so that you can apply it at a really fine spot. They also do make super glues with a brush applicator. Those are also pretty good. Super glue is great if you are not going to see it. So, because even though if it says it dries clear, it doesn't, they're lying to you. Super glue will not dry clear, but anything that you're using to tie in is great to use some super glue with, that you're gonna maybe wrap over, you're gonna put some brush over, or at least put some, at minimum, some thread wraps. It is not recommended that you finish your flies with super glue. If you wanna go down the fly tying rabbit hole, you're going to run into UV cures. I really like UV cures. They've replaced a few of these products for me. I really don't use this a ton in my life because I've got a couple of different styles of UV cures. The UV cures are great because they will cure instantly with UV light. We have a couple different viscosities of UV cure. You can also find some different colors available of UV cures, but these are all gonna dry extremely clear and will dry immediately when hit with the UV light. So this is UV flow. That's gonna be the thinnest viscosity of UV. So this one is the best for small dry flies, small nymphs. You can put a very small dot of that, and these different applicators come in different sizes based on which one you're buying. So you can apply a tiny, tiny, minuscule amount of this stuff, hit it with that UV light, and you're done. So I really like that. That's the flow. They also make one called the thin. This one is just slightly thicker. It's great for building up a very small body, like a wing case on a nymph, or you can still use this to finish off a head. You can even put it into deer hair head to make it stronger and not be able to soak up water. So I really like the thin. Next is the thick. So this stuff is very viscous. You're gonna use this for really helping build up a head, build up a body, being able to finish up a fly that's gonna have a large translucent casing on it, like a potential emerging nymph, something along those lines. The best use for those is building up those big epoxy heads. This has largely replaced epoxy for me. Epoxy's kind of tough because you've got to mix it. If you've never used epoxy, then you don't know what I'm talking about. Just go ahead and upgrade yourself to buying some UV cure. Last, because if you are using UV cure, you're going to have a light. So this is one of the Loon UV flashlights. It is rechargeable, just has a micro USB back here, and I really like it's got kind of a rubbery tip so you can set it on your desk really well. Extremely bright and will cure any of these UV cures in a matter of seconds. It's super convenient. You can apply that glue exactly where it needs to be, hit it with that light, and you're done with it. The other big advantage of working with any of the UV glues is that they don't cure until you hit it with the light. So that's a big advantage because you can manipulate the glues, especially if you're using some of the thicker stuff. Again, with a small toothpick is a great tool to be able to move around some of the glue. You can kind of get it on the fly, move it exactly where it needs to be. You can, if you have a rotary vise, you can flip your vise up and down and let the glues kind of settle. A lot of different things. It will not cure until you hit it with the light. So really a huge advantage to be able to manipulate the glues. You're not on a time limit like you might be with super glue or Zap-a-Gap. You really have unlimited time to be able to fiddle with it, get it in the exact right spot, and then hit it with the light. Hopefully that answered some questions about what glues you need to buy or what glues you should buy, and shows you some of the glues that you've seen us use previously in this series. And make sure you stay tuned for a couple more bonus episodes.